you have to pull a lot of independents and Democrats.
Right.
So what would you say to them in this election as to why they should come over to your side instead of continuing to give their vote to Lena Gonzalez?
So I kind of pointed that out before, is if you're better off from the last 4 years, then vote for her. But if you're not, consider me. And at the end of the day, I care about your children. I just want, I want to have a society that grows. And in order to do that, we need to educate our children. And the education system, we need to focus on how we're going to get there and what we're going to do for how we're teaching them. And English, writing, reading, math, those are the core that we need. And we need to focus on that and kind of think about what I'm saying when I say, hey, a police officer cannot talk about politics. Why is a teacher who has a brain that's a sponge talking about stuff that's inappropriate for children? And some items don't even, you talk at home and address. And so my concern is, hey, let's look at that. And at the end of the day, if we need, I care about our children. I don't want biological men in girls' bathrooms. I'm pretty sure the majority of the people would agree with that. There's options. If there's somebody who's in between, there's individual stalls. They don't need to be in the general public.
Other accommodations
could be made.
Okay.
And that's the concern. And I understand that, there may be issues with that, but there's accommodations that can be made so that we're not forcing something on innocent children that are like, what the heck is going on? And they don't understand it, don't comprehend it. Mm-hmm. And that's something.
So education, back to academics, parental rights, making sure that the parents are in charge of their children.
Right, and that's ultimately what I want, is I want parents in charge of their children, because you know what's best for them. You're around them. And guess what? There's going to be good parents and bad parents, but the majority want the best for their kids. And I would say it's close to 95% want the best for their kids. Mm-hmm. And that's what and there's always those outliers. But at the end of the day, you know what's best for your child, and that's what I would encourage them. The other issue is if you look at the voting record, and it's available on the Secretary of State for California, you could go down, and I encourage you not to read the bill name, but to read the bill, because the bill names sound wonderful. I mean, they have one where it's talking about a child's right to read, and what it is it's putting, sexual content books in the library. I never had a problem going into the library and grabbing a book. Now they made that available. And growing up, that type of content was behind the counter. It was kind of a shaming when you were younger to go behind it and stand behind the counter. You knew it. They're like, wow, what's up with this guy? And now we're just trying to make it open and free. And I think that a lot of the parents, if you care about your children, that's what I'm concerned about. At the end of the day, education is going to save our country, and that's what we need. And at the end of the day, I'm a Catholic at the same time, and Christian, and so I follow the Bible as well. So I like to consider myself in the middle. I think some of the things that people will consider that I'm crazy is because I'm pro-life. But at the end of the day, that's a hot topic, and it's 50-50.
Yeah.
And a lot of the Democrats are pro-life too, and they understand it.
Yeah.
So it's a yes and no. It's not a gray area, and that's kind of where we're at. And the gray area is the exceptions that I address on the website.
Yeah, I agree, but I do think that this year that issue is not at the top of people's list. They're caring more about illegal immigration, the cost of living, and some of the other education and parental rights issues we talked about.
Yeah, energy needs to be addressed.
Okay.
Energy and water storage in California. We need to. I mean, there's no reason why we should have a drought when we have the Sierras.
Yeah.
So we are, and they have. I think the last 3 years have been a crazy amount of snowpack, and it's just running right out into the ocean. We're not capturing it. So that's another. I mean, another concern is getting that water.
Yeah,
so.
I'm glad you're versed on that. We won't go into that, but yeah, other candidates in the more agriculture areas, I do address that issue with them. Yeah. But it sounds like you care about that because it does affect the entire state.
Oh yeah, it impacts every one of us.
Sure.
So.
Well, I appreciate you showing up. You were my very first interview with my, I guess, mobile podcast set now that I've set up here in this beautiful studio in downtown LA. And thank you for coming. I appreciate your time.
Thank you. Thank you, Joe. This is my first time doing a podcast, so I really appreciate it.
Okay.